Chris Eubank Jr. was interviewed a couple of weeks ago when he announced his deal with Sky, and they asked him whether he'd be interested in a fight with Ben Whittaker sometime in the future. And Eubank Jr. kind of pondered it for a moment or two, looked a little puzzled, and then said, well, maybe. The fans would be excited by it, right? Two brash guys who like to do a lot of showboating, flashy styles and what have you. But he also pointed out the fact that Ben Whittaker is a light heavyweight. Chris Eubank Jr. has never fought above 168, so they'd need to sort out some type of catch weight for that fight. Well, Ben Whittaker has since responded to the prospect of a Chris Eubank Jr. bout by saying he would be willing to drop down to a catch weight to accommodate Chris Eubank Jr. Now, some people might really like this fight. They might be really excited about the prospect of it happening, but personally, I would be absolutely amazed if this fight ever came off. Ben Whittaker is massively bigger than Eubank Jr. He's in his 20s. Eubank Jr. is the much smaller man in his mid-30s. He's looking for the very biggest fights for the biggest money. I don't see him taking a risk against Ben Whittaker because the reward is just not going to be there. Whittaker isn't a big enough star yet, and I don't know whether he could ever get big enough commercially for paying Eubank Jr. the kind of money that he would want for taking that kind of risk. Yes, they're both Sky fighters, but I don't think Eubank Jr. can be pressured or coaxed or convinced into taking a fight that doesn't serve his own best interests. Now, boxing is a very funny sport. There have been fights that have taken place in the past which shocked me. I never thought they'd get made. Could this be one of them as well? We'll see. But I would imagine it would take perhaps the Saudis getting involved to make this fight realistic, to put a check in front of Chris Eubank Jr. that was too big for him to refuse. Multi-millions. That notwithstanding, I can't ever see the fight happening. And I don't really care if the fight happens or not, to be honest. I think Ben Whittaker would box Eubank Jr.'s head off, quite frankly. I'm not saying he would knock him out necessarily, but I think he'd soundly outpoint him. That's just my take. Give me your take in the comment section below.